Hi guys, you're very welcome back to another podcast here on narcscon. Today, Remy and myself are coming to you from the sunny southwest of Ireland in County Kerry. So please excuse the sounds of summer, the beautiful sounds of summer, the birds chirping outside, the flies buzzing around, and if Remy decides to get up and trot out, that's what's going on here. I have to leave the door open. It's actually really hot. So that aside, today we're going to dive into how to do grey rock like a pro. Now, for anyone that doesn't know what grey rock is one of the techniques our community can use if you have to maintain contact with a narcissist. It isn't easy, but once it's used, it can be very effective. It's not applicable or appropriate to use it in all relationships, but if you have a relationship that you particularly want to extricate yourself from with a narcissist, not usually long-term, but it can be applied in a long-term relationship if it's appropriate and not dangerous to do so. This is a great technique to get narcissists to kind of lose interest in you, back away from you, not want as much from you, or to feel that they're in control, backing away from you. So there's an awful lot of advantages to this method. And what is it you say? It's actually acting in a non-emotional way. So it's not giving a narcissist what they feed on, which is narcissistic supply, or your emotional reaction to what they do to you, do, say, or appear, or whatever they do that causes a reaction from you. It's to make it as boring as possible, your response to them as boring as possible, and not to feed into their narrative, not to react, not to get annoyed, not to get happy, just become like, for instance, a grey rock, and that's from where it's gotten its name. So I actually have here a contribution from one of our community, which is very generous, very vulnerable, very helpful, and this person really wants to help our community by relaying their story of how they implemented what they learned, I suppose, on YouTube from a lot of different sources in relation to implementing this particular procedure. At the end of this podcast, I am going to talk about the buddy program that we have running that I haven't mentioned for a very long time on this channel. So I will get to that at the end of the podcast. So you say, come on, Paula, get into the details. So what I'm going to do is just give you a little bit of background before I read this email about how to do grey rock like a pro. This person wrote to me last year and said that she was in a predicament. Like all of us get into predicaments at different times in the past, where we find ourselves in a place that we don't want to be, that we're unhappy in, that we may regret having gotten into, situations that aren't of us, aren't in our best interests, and aren't something that are part of our higher selves. So the vulnerability here, please respect that, because we have all had situations that have been difficult to deal with in life and that we've kind of fallen into, and things we regret, but things that when we overcome the challenge of them can enrich us and empower us and bring us to a new level of consciousness. And this is what's happened to the person who's written this, who will remain anonymous for their own protective sake. This is an amazing story, in my view, of someone who recognized they were in a situation that they didn't like, who had a lot to lose by exposing that situation or by annoying the narcissist they were with, so that the narcissist would expose the situation and cause a lot of hurt and pain to people, children, in particular this person's children, who didn't deserve to have that hurt and pain brought upon them. So it's an intelligent and it's an empowering and it's a peaceful, good way to have gotten out of this situation. And I'm hoping that some of the techniques will resonate with you in your own situation, and that also, you know, empower you to see how it's not always impossible to deal with narcissists, that there are ways around their manipulations, and that you too have just as much power as they do to hold yourself proud, to manage your situation, and to reach a new level of consciousness after dealing with a narcissist. It's very possible and very doable. This takes discipline. This takes a lot of discipline in this particular circumstance, because it was over time that the technique worked. So it takes patience and a lot of discipline. Let's get into it. Dear Paula, I wrote an email to you last September and you told me I could give you a follow-up when I am ready. I am ready now. And this has just come in the last week or two. The topic was that I thought I would be able to be friends with my narcissist by telling him I wanted no intimate contact anymore. And in the first moment, it seemed as if he accepted this. This person was married in a relationship that was fairly open, but in a way that they had no longer intimacy in the marriage, but wanted to stay married for the children's sake. And this is what was happening in the background. But you were telling me to be careful because no narcissist is really accepting such a thing. You were right. So my path, that was because you can't take control of a situation with a narcissist by saying that you're changing the story with them, that you are taking control and you just want to be friends. That is a threat to the narcissist's control, and the narcissist has to feel that they're the ones directing the orchestra, so to speak. This is highly threatening to a narcissist. So they may appear to accept it, but it's not going to be accepted. They have to seek, their narcissism seeks to regain control of the situation. So my path was to look for myself and to heal all my childhood wounds, as to be strong and not triggered anymore by this guy. We sometimes seek out relationships that aren't appropriate for us because we have a need within ourselves. We're seeking something. The narcissist often mirrors back that which we seek, and therefore can be a very attractive proposition to us when we're on this quest, when we're unfulfilled inside, when we have childhood wounds, when we have things that the narcissist is really showing up in us as and seeming to provide a solution to those things. Actually, in the months October to March, I worked so hard on myself that I got more and more healed inside. And again, although it's not easy, you can work on yourself while still in a relationship with a narcissist. With this approach, I really cared so little about what this person said to me, so that I was able to, step by step, being more and more boring to him and not serving him at all anymore as a supply. I gave any answer in such an indifferent and uninterested way that I finally got rid of him. And that is what going grey rock is. You're not providing fuel to the narcissist by giving an emotional reaction at all. You just seem like you're sitting there very nothing. You're sitting there like a grey rock on the sofa. Just keep that image in mind when a narcissist is trying to trigger you. My goal was always to get rid of him without being in a fight or an argument. And I did everything so slowly and carefully planned, so that he could not do a smear campaign against me, and so he would not be triggered to leave and do a big smear campaign against her for him to feel that he was in control of the situation. My plan was to be always polite and nice, and to have a really good mood when we had some contact, so he has nothing to use against me. I slowly told him, step by step, which tasks I would not be able to do in the future because of a lack of time. This was slow now. He accepted everything by not realising the big picture for a long time. So in a way, this is turning what the narcissist does to us kind of back onto them. So you're withdrawing slowly, slowly, slowly over a period of time so that it doesn't trigger alerts in the narcissist. If he told me stories of pity, I didn't go there with him. In other words, if he was looking for sympathy, I really managed to give him the feeling that I'm useless to him, despite of our 12-year relationship. I did not react at all to his accusations. For example, that I am so different now. I just told him, I know I'm really different now. My life changed a lot. So if he said to her even, you're so different now, you're not like yourself, you agree. You don't get triggered by it. After some months of doing so, despite the intimacy we still had, and inverted commas, I just let it happen. Finally, he tried to accuse me that I was not the same as before and that I don't make efforts for this relationship anymore. He even told me that he is, inverted commas, feeling used as an intimate partner by me. I nearly laughed because of this funny twist to reality. I answered very unmotivated. I don't know why, but yes, it is like that now. That is actually a real twist in the situation. The narcissist has you as feeling used. They're using you as an intimate partner for their own means, and then you turn it around on them because you're giving no emotional reaction, and they accuse you of the very thing that they're actually doing to you. He was so confused about my quiet response that he told me to he would mess up my actual marriage by telling my husband and my children, who are teenagers, and my mother about our 12-year secret relationship. So although this person was in a marriage that wasn't intimate or that was fairly open in relation to relationships, this had been going on in the background as a secret. So please be kind here, because this person is sharing something that she wanted to get out of and realized was not serving anybody, not her needs and not her family's needs. And she wanted to extricate herself without causing them harm. She was prepared to take that reaction herself, but she did not want her family harmed. Okay, where are we? Okay, he was going to tell her mother as well. And he had a wife and 2 children in this time. And then he divorced them 1 year ago, and he had a new wife now, as she was trying to extricate herself from the relationship. This was happening. I told him that that was okay for me. I didn't care if he told them everything. I even asked whom he wanted to tell first. This was too much, and he told me he just wanted to test me to see how I'd react when he threatened to expose the relationship, and that he wouldn't do such a thing anyway. I told him that I know that he was an honourable person and that I didn't expect him to do so at all. I tell you what, this requires a lot of discipline. This requires a lot of discipline. Finally, he said he knows that I would like to make him accountable for everything that didn't work out in our relationship. I told him that I would like to separate now with no resentment at all, and that he wasn't accountable at all for the breakup now. I told him that I wish him the best and I don't resent anything that happened. He nearly could not believe it, but I didn't give him one single argument to be mad at me, one single reason to be mad at her. This was our final talk 1 month ago. Sorry guys, I'm just moving down the page without losing it, I hope. This was our final talk 1 month ago, like a comedy in fact. But since then we don't text, only meet if we've something to discuss for business. He never had a bad mood and just let me be in my life. In other words, he never got mad or crazy, but just let things lie. He even never asks again what I'm doing. I am free now, really free. Again, just blessed to be with my family, husband and 2 children, who know nothing about my incredible story of 12 years. So this is a decision, as I say, we get into bad situations, we find ourselves in them, we know they're wrong, and we want to extricate ourselves without, you can say that the person didn't want to cause damage to themselves, but this person had really reached a new level of awareness about narcissists and about herself, and she did a lot of introspective work on herself, and it was imperative for her to be able to continue with her family and her children without them getting hurt in this new conscious and enlightened state, that she extricate herself without the narcissist smearing her, in effect causing her family to break up. Dear Paula, I think that this is probably a rare story of separating in peace with a narcissist, using really a lot of intelligence, yes, a lot of intelligence here, understanding of the narcissistic personality disorder, and healing first all internal wounds and triggers. You would have to have worked on your triggers, because remember, the narcissist would have a very good idea of who you are over this period of time, would really know how to push your buttons. In fact, I remember a narcissist saying to me about his ex, who was also a narcissist, I know her inside out. I know exactly how to deal with her. Should have been a red flag for me, but there you go. So narcissists will know you inside out, but this person worked on herself and therefore could not be triggered in the same manner to which she had been triggered before, and was able therefore to not emotionally react to the things that had been sure triggers in the past for the narcissist to trigger her with, in order for her to give an emotional reaction, either positive or negative, but an emotional reaction, which is the lifeblood and food of the narcissist. So she became a supply, like a vending machine that stopped pumping out the fuel. And no matter how many coins he put in or how many buttons he pressed, it was problematic to get any fuel from her whatsoever. So he was able to move away from that vending machine onto a different source without having to kick it, smash it, break it, or take his annoyance or vulnerability of lack of control out against it or her. We narcissists always regard us as objects. I feel free. I feel grown up and I enjoy every minute of my life. I don't care about anything and anybody anymore who doesn't uplift me. I'm so grateful being able to write this to you, and I allow you to use it for one of your videos if you wish. Kindest regards and much love. Please be respectful, guys, in the comments. Remember, we've all been in situations, again, I'll say, that we're not proud of, that we ended up in because of our wounds and vulnerabilities. But what a way to save the day, to damage limitation here by using the grey rock method like a pro. Thank you, dear subscriber, for sending this information in to help your fellow community members and show that there is a way with in the appropriate situation to use this method to a great effect. So guys, as promised at the end of this podcast, I would like to just go back over the buddy program that I've mentioned a long time ago, probably now. It's a very simple buddy program that operates on this channel, in this community. And I don't get involved, guys. It's a case of, if you are looking for somebody who you can maybe email or you can share stories with or support each other, leave a comment in the comments section. Just leave the area you're in relation to time zones, because that can be a problem. Just, you can go with somebody across the other side of the world for support if their story resonates with you. You can give a little bit of background about where you are at your healing stage. Just put where your time zone's at. Buddy request in the first part of the comments. And please also look in the comments to see if other people have put buddy requests that you can reply to, because a lot of the time there's buddy requests and there's no replies, but there's about 5 buddy requests in the same comment drop down. So go look at other people's and see if somebody resonates with you or if you feel that they'd be a good match. You can set up a separate email for this particular purpose, so that you're not going to have any invasion of your privacy. Just set up a separate email and see how it goes. What have you got to lose? You know, you can email the person. If you don't like what's going on, or if you don't like the responses you get, there's no harm done. Just say, look, it's not working for me. A lot of people have had great success and have actually formed friendships by doing this. So that's what this community is all about. The great people that are out there give you so much hope and belief in humanity. And I promise you, having dealt with or have had a lot of experiences with a lot of people at this stage with coaching, etc., my belief in humanity is on an all-time high. I cannot believe the love, generosity and amazingness of people who have gone through this particular experience and have come out the other side glowing after a very painful experience. But the pain seems to have been like, what can I say, like a trigger or something, like something that's moved within us to bring out the best in us because of our attitude to it and how we deal with it. So guys, that's all for now. The next vid that's coming out is going to be in relation to why the narcissist keeps their new supply hidden. I did a shorts on that, and this is going to be a longer and more in-depth version for anyone that's interested in that particular topic or is at that particular stage of this narcissistic abuse. Thanks guys, have a great day. I am so hot here, which is an amazing complaint when you're from Ireland. That's it for now. I have to take Remy out on his WALK. I can't actually say it or he's going to jump up and go crazy. So see you soon. Bye for now.